Absolutely humbling to be here. I'm honestly absorbing all of this, and I've become very silent, because when you go deep into the dimension of humility, silence is what you use to honor what inspires you. So I'll start with this very curious question this kid asked me. He looked at this painting and he said, well, elephants don't have trees coming out of their head, right? So why do you paint them so? So I asked the kid, what do we take from the tree? The kid said, we take oxygen and the tree takes carbon. The kid said, right. So we are connected. But we do not see that interconnectivity in this reality of separation, in this reality which separates us to experience that interconnectivity. So what is invisible in our world becomes visible in the dimension of the painting. So the painting presents you the truth of our existence, of this life, that we all are interconnected, various outlooks, various species, various ways to perceive life. All of that flows in this beautiful synchronicity. And that's why painting, art, music, inspiring stories are important to wake us up, to understand, and rekindle the idea that we all are one. But where did I learn these things from? So let me introduce you to some of my teachers. And most of them are specially abled. And I was very, very fortunate to have met them. This is Susie. She loves the watermelon soup. She does not have any teeth. She was rescued from a circus where she had a very, very tormenting life. She is blind, but she sees more than eyes ever can. And she became my grandmother. And she told me the power of sensitivity. With great strength, with great torture this being has gone through, the kind of forgiveness she had in her heart was absolutely inspiring. And to walk beside her as a kid, I relearned to walk again. And as we progress in the presentation, I'll give you the recipe of the watermelon soup as well. My next teacher is Snow. We met in New York. He was a rescue cat. He was abandoned in the winters, very harsh winters. He lost his hind leg, his eyesight, his ears to frostbite, and somehow he came in our lives. So Snow taught me a very good lesson. I'm going to share that with you. When life becomes tough, Snow said, oh, wow. So when I ask you, when life becomes tough, you all will say, oh, wow, okay? To honor Snow. When life becomes tough, that's the lesson Snow taught me. Snow also said, all these teachers I met taught me about creativity is the study and exploration of perception, that there are multiple ways to look at life. In the natural world, we find this even more, the array of ways in which nature and its sentient beings perceive life is fascinating. An eagle perceives long-distant objects with sight, while an owl uses sonar. A whale, elephant, they use infrasonic waves. A rattlesnake uses a completely different way to sense the air by its tongue. So there are multiple ways of perception which are interconnected and are in unison in the fabric of nature. Similarly, in ancient stories, we gave place to not just intelligence, we also gave place to every other aspect of our life, be it dreaming. Where should dreaming go? Be it deep sleep, the collective unconscious, as modern psychology calls it. So the ancient stories are an amalgamation of your waking life, Jagratam, Susupti, which is the dreaming life, and Swapnam, which is the dreaming life, and Susupti, which is deep sleep. And you're observing as an entity all of these three things. The ancient stories are extremely inclusive in the way they present wisdom. This is my other friend called Nobru from Ladakh, and we trek together. And he stops at the most scenic places, so when we trek with him, wherever he stops, we stop as well. Creativity, one of the most beautiful things, almost a superpower of creativity, is the ability to enter emotions which hold power over you. How many of us feel anger? All of us feel anger. But how many of us choose to enter the landscape of anger? And I think to look at everything we have within us as resource is something which I've been witnessing since yesterday, since I've arrived here. That how specially abled people can move into their inner dimension and extract treasures from their trauma. And that's the alchemy of creativity. Creativity also brings together your emotional, psychological, physical, and spiritual selves together, which live a very separate life in our world. It's sort of an ecosystem, again, like nature, in the image of nature, which honors all kinds of outlooks. It also helps us to say things we can't just say with words, we fear saying, or are deep-seated, suppressed in us. Existential questions, the place of sadness in life, or why this has happened to me. How do I use my sorrow for something positive? These are questions we all ask. These are some of the questions once they were asked to me, and these are some of the answers I gave through pictures and through observations and things I've learned from these great teachers. This is Maze. We had 3 cats, so she was one of the most beautifully hearted person I have ever met. So the best thing you've read so far is the book of everyday life. That's what creativity gives you. It gives you a culture of introspection. What has happened in your day? You sit by yourself and you think about your day. You enter that day again. You pick up things which you probably noticed but did not really were made aware of. In creativity, it all comes together. Advice for depression. In today's time where I feel we have become very intellectually overactive, ideologically extremely haphazard, it's very important to keep an aspect of service in the frontier of our life. Without service, without seva, no knowledge, no jnana will get internalized. Only when it's internalized, then the foundation of your soul would be built on sensitivity. आपकी आत्मा का आधार संवेदना होगी. संवेदना के ऊपर विज्ञान का बीज डालेंगे, ज्ञान का बीज डालेंगे, तो एक बहुत सुंदर पेड़ उगेगा. So I will share some of these paintings, which are again based on the same idea of trying to express ecological messages through these paintings based on ancient stories. Because every ancient story includes nature and a world within ourselves and tries to bridge these 2 dimensions together. There are all these ancient words, some of which you've heard, but the most ancient word of harmony, for harmony, is ritam, rita, which occurs in the Rig Veda. It actually means inclusion, that everything is together. From rita comes ritam, dham, dharma, dharti. Dharti means something which holds everything together. Tan, tra, meaning a way to loom everything together. Kabir says it beautifully. Jhini re chadariya, a blanket in its weave are all kinds of things weaved together. Yuj, yoga, a way to align things. So harmony and the way to go about bringing it into a social system of our lives has been one of the oldest civilizational pursuit. These are some of the other paintings and some of the size and the scale of the works. This is the Trinity, but instead of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, I honored the goddesses to take that place and the lokas and the realms they come from. This is Brahmani, Rudrani, and Vaishnavi. One of the most beautiful things, another beautiful things about creativity is often we get this question, you're not a tree, why are you writing something on behalf of it? You're not a dragon, you're not the sea. But with creativity, we begin the journey by acknowledging, yes, we are not that. We all have lived in our family, moms, fathers, brothers, a close friend. And one day, it so happens that you think you've lived with this individual, but you really do not know much about them. So you start to take that first step from that unknowing, from that curiosity, which becomes a part of your journey forward. Some of the stories have beautiful ecological messages. This is the story of Samudra Manthan, the churning of the ocean. We did this painting live at the Ghats of Varanasi to express that if you love Shiva, you should clean the oceans like him because he loves nature. Everything in Shiva's philosophy points to the idea of inclusivity and our harmonized existence with nature. Also, drawing is the easiest way of becoming silent. You take a line on a walk, and you will become extremely silent. And then from that silence, you start to enter inner dimensions, and you start to take a journey across that landscape. The philosophy of Kali is also about the idea of harmonizing life and death. In our society, we look at birth and youth, and we often stop there, and then it's eternal youth. We want to be forever young. There's a great amount of vanity, a way to look at things and look at them from a vanity perspective. But in the world of Kali, not just birth and youth, but decay and death are also included. That how all four are part of this life. And one way or another, we will have to confront that truth. And if not the mother, who will tell us this extremely powerful truth? So that's why she's the mother of time, because she tells us everything which we have to live within this paradigm of time in this life. These are some of the works I've done live in various places around to spread the message of these stories, to spread the message of inclusivity and our connection, especially with nature, and how that motivates us to take a journey deep within and combine these realities. From there, from the paintings, from the world of paintings, I want to take you to the mountains, to the Himalayas. And this is where I felt I found another teacher. The mountains have told me and shared with me some of the most beautiful lessons I could ever learn. This is a fire rainbow on very high altitudes. There are icicles in the clouds, and when the light comes through, it refracts and it gets smeared across the entire sky. I became part of their gang. This is the mountain goat was teaching her calf how to cross a stream there. Drawing next to the rivers. Rivers, mountains, they speak the language of a deeper silence. When you cut down your own voices, then you start to hear them. They do have a voice, it's just we can't hear it because of the noise which is clouding our mind. These are the companions. No battery needed. You can just take a journal along with you. And the sketchbooks, writing something, drawing something, I feel is a way to deepen your experience of this world. When you draw something, you start to observe it better. Otherwise, in our life, we're just glancing through. We look at things little, but we don't properly look at things. There are only two times a person looks at anyone properly. One is the beloved, and second, a child, someone they think of a child. These are all the sketches. And from there, I went to the elephants. These elephants are used for tourist walks in Rajasthan. I worked as a volunteer with them and understood what kind of lives they are going through. And elephants' back is very, very weak. So it takes a lot of extreme amount of effort to rehabilitate them. This was the first studio I had. From there, I met Susie and Asha. And this is at a volunteering organization called Wildlife SOS. They rescue and rehabilitate elephants. It also houses the first elephant hospital in India. This is Babu Ram, Chacha, Susie, and Asha. I'll skip some of these sketches. As you can see from the pictures, the journey it was. This is the watermelon soup. And this was our last walk with Susie. We come back to the mountains to look for the elusive snow leopard. The day we didn't find the snow leopard, I drew one on the snow for them. This is the one we saw. Some real-life heroes, Tulsi Gowda, the encyclopedia of the forest. Shalu Marda Timmakka, who passed away just yesterday, who planted many banyan trees in the state of Karnataka. Rahibai Popre, the seed mother. This is a project which I'm working on to create a mythology for the elephants where there are no kings, they're not used in wars, and just to celebrate their life. I'm going to quickly show you all these images and end my presentation with a little bit of a poem. This is all part of a book, and thanks to the conference today, it's available outside, so you can at least glimpse these paintings there. These are some of my other books, and they all contain these stories which I shared with you. And let me end with this visual poem. I'll see you again after I have learned to let go of my weight from the branches which looked after me to know persistence and then to fly. After I have traveled to places far and wide, crossing paths with keepers of seas, exchanging lores of shapeless things and creatures of silent light, after I have fallen in love and have loved and loved and loved. After I have kissed the sun and have asked the trees to know the light which we cannot see, when I would have passed it on. After I have taken my last rest to embrace in me the winter, the spring, the beauty, the decay, terror, resilience, and hope, and how moving through these we live out our choices. After I have asked the earth how she endures the scars, the wars, and still gives us rain and flowers, how forgiveness chooses to always heal our hearts, and that there is no bigger miracle than love. When the sky would call upon me once again, when I'd have roots instead of wings, which would still remember to fly, we would have moved, lived, come back, returned, and merged across the many ripples of time. I would have known you in all forms and in no forms too. You would know it's me because it'll bring a shower of smiles to you. I'll see you again.